Hi, Hugh here. This video is going to give you a quick guide to all you need to know about reflective practice and an easy process to help you become good at it. But first, the why. Reflective practice is used in professional domains where there's no clearly defined idea of great performance. It's very easy to define a bad performance in all domains, but in some domains it's difficult for people to agree on what exactly a great performance looks like. Examples of this are teaching, educating, coaching, medicine and psychology. And you will notice those are domains that all involve complex human interaction as a key component. Reflective practice enhances and develops your ability to learn at a rate that's faster than normal. One psychological fact that amazes me is that a large amount of people's success depends on their intelligence. However, being intelligent and knowing how to think are two vastly different things. This can be thought of as intelligence is like having a powerful Formula 1 car, but what shapes the outcome of a race is dependent on if the driver points the car in the right direction at the right time. This model of reflective practice is essentially a map of the racetrack that will show you where to steer your thoughts so that you can avoid blind spots and cognitive biases. Firstly, you can't force somebody to do reflective practice. The research clearly shows that forcing people to do it does not produce results. Also, you don't necessarily need to write down the reflection. You can just take this process and do it with someone you feel comfortable with. To begin with, describe the incident that you're reflecting on. What happened? What did you observe? What did you feel? How was your role? How was it different from your expectations? What did you not expect to happen? And why is this an issue for you? What elements did you find challenging? And what actions did you take? How did you decide to take those actions? And what consequences were there for you? And what consequences were there for others involved? How did your feelings change throughout the experience? And what were the significant incidents of the experience? These questions will help shape your ability to describe the incident. The first stage of reflecting on it starts with, what three things did you do well, and what does that say about your competence or skills? What was good about the experience, and what good things have others highlighted? What did you do that most others wouldn't have? And how has your knowledge, skills and experience prepared you for this? How did you manage this crisis? Stage 1 forces you to identify the positive successes and attributes that you bring to the situation. This stage is designed to bolster confidence, and that is absolutely vital. As some research has highlighted that reflection can end up being a very negative experience if it is done in such a way that highlights only things which you want to improve. What opportunities or areas are there for you to improve if you experience this again? This is stage 2. Consider the following features of the event: the time, the resources, willingness, people, cost, the effectiveness, preparation. Those things are things that can potentially be changed. So what would you change? Stages 3 and 4. What positive or negative effects would those changes have caused? And what would be the consequences of this change? What would be the secondary effects of the change? And what are the range of possible outcomes? What's the probability you're right with that change? And how could you be wrong with that proposed change? Stages 3 and 4 are the most challenging for people. We often assume that an action or event is entirely good or entirely bad. The reality is that all events are a mixture of both good or bad consequences. And we must also consider the knock-on effects of the experience. The effects of the effects, or as it's commonly said, secondary and tertiary effects. This drawing shows it is possible for a mostly good event to have mostly future bad effects, and vice versa. Stage 3 and 4 really challenge us because they ask us to honestly check our bias, and we're not always capable of that. So it may be useful to get help at this stage from a trusted person who can give you honest feedback but has your best interests at heart. Just to briefly touch on cognitive bias, there are over 130 cognitive biases which affect our thinking. They're critical for us to function as humans, and they help us make fast, efficient decisions and are essentially mental shortcuts. The issue with how they affect learning and development is that they rely on existing patterns and beliefs within your understanding of the world. And as a result, this doesn't help when you're trying to understand something new or learn from a different perspective. My two favourite cognitive biases to challenge are confirmation bias and in-group bias. Confirmation bias is essentially that all humans put effort in to confirm what they believe and look to disconfirm which they do not already believe. Similarly, in in-group bias, humans will show preference to their own group, and this can be extended to the history and the knowledge of the group. The group may be a group of friends, a nation, or a governing body or club. It is therefore important to think clearly about a situation so that we learn about bias and find ways to challenge it by incorporating others' views and knowledge into our thinking. The final stage is, what do you intend to do with this knowledge? What are you taking away from this incident to help you in the future? And what can you do to perform better the next time? Who can you use to help you? What resources might you need? Who else do you need to inform about this learning experience? And what do you just have to accept? Where are you being too hard on yourself? This model is my own model. I've developed it as I found other models insufficient. I've also delivered this model as part of coach education and in addition to medical professionals. So it will help you assist with decision making and learning, and if you have any questions, please get in touch. You can use my email, podiumpsychology@gmail.com. Thanks very much.